What follows is for news and entertainment purposes only. Any use of the forthcoming information in violation of any federal, state, or local law is prohibited. Mike North, you are on fire.
You know anybody else that good?
No.
No, they'll tell you they are. They may think they are, but we're documented every single week. The eye is on us.
That's
and I
right.
ain't talking about the eye of CBS, the public eye. The first feeling I got when I won a bet was elation. The worst feeling was when I lost a bet and I wanted to jump off a balcony.
Give me a quick betting tip.
Yeah, do win and don't lose, but usually it doesn't always work out that way. How many times you heard this? I'm going to Vegas. I go, how'd you do? Well, if I lost $4,000, but you go there to have fun. No, you go there to win. And that's what's wrong with people. They have the negative mentality in anything they do, including sports, before they even laid the bet down. So you got to be positive. Vegas Scores and Odds is the landing place that gave me an opportunity to handicap. They let me show what I could do, and there's packages, there's free picks. What does Vegas Scores and Odds do when you perform? They reward you, and they take care of you, and that's why we're ready to do this show.
Vegas Scores and Odds presents the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now. That's right. The Mike North Advantage starts right now. I am Aldo Gandia, Mike's wingman, and if it is Wednesday, that means it is Vegas Scores and Odds presents the Mike North Advantage, and that means that Mike will give you 3 free picks for action. I don't think there's much action going on tonight, so we'll find out what Mike has in store for us. But he's got some free stuff for us, and it's all brought to you by VegasScoresandOdds.com. Make sure you visit them. And where Mike and I are going to talk about baseball, we're going to talk about basketball, we'll talk about football too, because we've got some prop bets I want them to take a look at. And who knows what else we'll talk about, because it's totally unscripted. So let me welcome in the man, the myth, the legend, Mike North. How are you, my friend?
Oh, it's good to talk to my guy, Aldo Gandia, again. How are you, my friend? And by the way, hi to everybody on the chat board. Call your friends, call your neighbors, call your enemies. It's a good conversation starter. The beautiful Mike North Advantage on Vegas Scores and Odds with Aldo Gandia. And, just punch this number in your phone right now if you're driving. Just pull over if you're driving. Call 1-800-808-3419 for a free pick and info for the premier handicapping site in the country at VegasScoresandOdds.com. That's VegasScoresandAnd.com. It's the only site you'll ever need with expert handicappers like John Anthony, Denny Macklin, Tony Sacco, Ray Monahan. I mean, the whole crew, yours truly, of course. I'm only 10 away from the coveted over 200 over 500 mark. Unseemly
Nice.
in handicapping. We were raised that you can't beat the man. I think 200 over 500 is a Hall of Fame number, no matter if you're a pitcher, if you're a baseball player. I mean, 200 over 500, think of a pitcher that's won 300 games and only lost 100. That's what I am, folks, okay, in gambling. That's why this show is important. It's going to be more important with legalized gambling and all the picks that we have. And by the way, the followers, not only at Bears Barroom, where we've doubled since last year on Twitter, at Bears Barroom, but also at Vegas Scores and Odds. We're up big now. We started at 485. We're up to 525, 530. Keep pounding that. Let your friends, your family, once again, and even your enemies know about it. 1-800-808-3419. Aldo, I'm going to go rest now and lay down. That was a hell of a pitch.
Do you rehearse?
What can I tell you?
Do you rehearse that, or it just all comes to you?
Comes to me, some of it, but I got some copy points. I'm not going to lie to you. But the Vegas Scores and Odds guys, they're the best. We got great handicappers. And, if you want to really talk about is for just a second here, I could tell everybody this basically, that I'm the lead dog right now at 3-2 after 7 days. Everybody else is 1-1. And there's not a whole lot of action out there. Now, the last 30 days, you got Hollywood at 13-5. All sports, all time, though. Oddsfather's number 1. I'm number 2 at 1483, 1293. So looking forward to the 200 over 500 mark. It's competition every night for me. I had the American League last night, and I had the under at Vegas Scores and Odds. Won them both 4-3. And I heard the stat that the odds couple, Mr. Carmen DeFalco, said that the unders were 8-2 in the last 10 games because they faced different pitchers every inning. And boy, what a tip that was as that came in gold yesterday.
Got to tell you, I listened to Friday's ESPN 1000, The Odds Couple with you and Carmen DeFalco. What a fabulous show. The chemistry that you two guys, it's like you've been working together for 20 years. The information on gambling that you hand out, the opinions, all of it was just riveting. I had a long drive that time, and there was about 10 minutes left of the show. I got to my destination. I just sat in the car and listened to the rest of the show. Really
yeah, but that's
well done.
Because I got to sharpen my pencil with Bears Barroom.
Aha!
That's the reason. No, I'm not an idiot. Look, you got to go in the batting cage. You know, I started golfing like about. I used to golf 3 times a year in golf outings and stuff, and I was horrible. 112, 120. 15% of the country golfs between 110 and 120. I already checked the stats. So I said, I'm living by a golf course now. I'm a minute away. I said, I'm going to start going to the driving range, and I'm going to start working hard, and I'm going to play golf 3 times a week, which I'm doing right now.
Nice.
I golfed this morning. I went from 112 to 98 now in the last month.
Nice.
Because I'm practicing and I'm playing. And if you don't, I don't care what it is. And that's why Bears Barroom was important for me, even with the hiring of the ESPN. But you're right. Look, everybody tells me that about the phone, with Jiggets, with you. Everybody says that. So, you know, the partners matter. And the partners, if you have a dud of a partner, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So I have great partners. I have great opportunity. And believe me when I tell you this, Carmen's great at and we want to break new ground there. But the very first handicap show was 30 years ago, the NFL handicap show that I did on 1240 WSBC. And since that time, the next one was the Bears Barroom show. And now Vegas Scores and Odds has jumped in, which is only, and now Gaming Today wants to get more involved with our brand. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Very
I
cool.
taught the general manager and I have had some a little bit of communication. So we're looking forward to a lot of different things, Aldo.
It's unbelievable. I'm very fortunate you've brought me into this world of sports gambling. It's a lot of fun, and while I have yet to gamble any of my own money, I am on the verge of making those first bets. And when I do, I'm going to be following your advice, Mike
Yeah,
North.
but you know what's great? What you just said about the drive. Look, you don't gamble. But you know what I'm hearing, and the buzz about the Odds Couple show that I'm hearing is most of the people that are listening, and we're doing real well, but you know what's really kicking ass? The Encore show on Saturday morning. Now you'd say to yourself, well, wait a minute. The Friday night show, I've been told, is doing well. Okay? The Saturday morning Encore, so the Friday night show's from 6 to 7. The Encore show from 8 to 9 on Saturday, for the most part, except Carmen, unfortunately, had the over in the World Cup game Sunday. But the other games were played on Friday night. So, but the numbers, they say, are doing real well on Saturday, and it's old news.
Yeah, that's
so the
amazing.
show's entertaining.
That's right. That's exactly the key
Because
to
you
all
don't
this.
gamble, and you listened, and you said you were riveted.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you know, and it's a great way to learn more about sports and gambling. And so, because you guys are basically talking sports, but you're attaching, you know, betting
Right.
to it and so forth. And Carmen does a great job of sharing some of the odds and stuff of what's going on, and then you react to it. It's just really well done, and I think it's a format for all gambling shows. Watch, you'll see there'll be dozens of other shows replicating what you and Carmen DeFalco are doing, and I just want to acknowledge that you guys were the first to do it and doing a hell of a job on it. Really well done.
Yeah. And you know what? I think it should be one of these shows. I think that show is a potential franchise show. I do.
Yep.
And I don't know what they want to do with it. I know that they move very carefully and very cautiously, you know, at ESPN, which is fine. But I watched Walt Disney. I've told you this. And Walt Disney, when he saw something, he grabbed it. And I think that people that are waiting for gambling shows are making mistakes. This is where you hone your craft. This is where, because some shops want to wait till it's legal in the state they're in.
Right.
But there's millions of people that are gambling in Illinois, overseas, and other places.
Absolutely.
So you got that audience already. Why are you waiting for the Illinois state legislature to make a decision?
Exactly. Exactly.
I just don't understand that.
Yeah, makes a lot of
sense. But I'm
sense.
glad I'm on. I'm not complaining. I love the opportunity, and you know what? I'm going to be honest. I mean, I'm not arrogant about this. I know I got a great opportunity here, but I think I can accomplish being great at two different things in the same realm.
Absolutely.
Sports talk is my sledgehammer, but you know what? You said something. You can't talk gambling without talking sports talk. And anybody that thinks all you're going to be able to give out is numbers and this and that, go listen to those gambling radio shows, to me, that are boring. Yeah. Those are boring.
Right.
You still got to entertain, and that's why I got to hone my craft right here at Bears Barroom.
Right. Well, you've done an excellent job. They call it in the business rebranding yourself, and you've done an excellent job as rebranding yourself as one of the hottest handicappers. It's sort of like Robert De Niro. He was known as a gangster movie star, over his first 20 films or stuff like that. He did other movies, but primarily he was known as a gangster. And then over the last 15, 20 years, he's rebranded himself, and he's become a comedy genius. Analyze this, analyze that. Meet the Fockers Part 2, or whatever it was called.
Fockers Part 3 I watched the other night.
Oh,
wasn't
really?
bad.
I didn't know.
I mean, my God. I mean, you know what? You think, look, I love De Niro as a gangster. That's it. I mean, for the most part. But there's no denying. To me, the best comedy he ever made was Midnight Run.
Oh,
to me,
awesome.
When nobody thought he could pull it off, he and Charles Grodin pulled it off.
Yes.
And it's one of the great comedies that people don't talk about.
You're
Midnight
right.
Run with Robert De Niro, Charles Grodin, Yaphet Kotto, and Dennis Farina, my dear friend Dennis Farina, outstanding.
Yeah, it really is. If you've never seen the movie, check it out. Robert De Niro plays a bounty hunter, and he's out to get Charles Grodin, and the adventures they go through together while he's trying to get him back to a particular city. It's just hilarious stuff and a great ending. A lot of those movies don't end very well, but that was a satisfying ending. All right, let's talk a little bit about the baseball All-Star Game. Let's start our conversations with this.
And he's got him. Struck out the side. And a smile from Aroldis Chapman as he gets the All-Star Game save. And the American League has now won 7 straight as they win this one 4-3.
Mike North, what the heck is happening with the dominance of the American League over the National League? And it's just not this 7 in a row. We go back years, and it's the AL winning predominantly, I guess, over the last couple of decades. What are your thoughts on why the AL is doing so well against the National League?
Well, first of all, I got to tell you, when you think of the National League, what do you think of, folks? You think of pitching or do you think of hitting? I mean, even last night, there are millions of Americans who said, who is this South Korean pitcher on the mound?
Right.
It used to be Marichal, Koufax, Gibson.
Yep.
You knew the names.
Yep.
How many people even knew who this guy was last night? Yeah. Because the pitching in the National League, to me, is okay. I think it's stronger than the American League. And even though the National League's got better pitching, better hitting, the pitching, in my opinion, always wins out. And like I said, 8 of the last 10 going into last night were under games, because it's not like they used to have it. Remember, Eldo, when they used to have a starter would start and pitch 3 innings.
Yep.
Then the next guy would pitch 3 innings.
Yep.
Then the next guy maybe 2 innings
right.
or 3, maybe 3 innings. And the other 8 pitchers, they made the trip for nothing. They wouldn't even get into the game.
That's
now
right.
they're seeing a different pitcher every inning. And to me, I'd hate that if I was a hitter. When do hitters get better? when the pitcher's hitting the lineup for the third time. Well, in the All-Star game, the pitcher pitches 1 inning and he's gone.
That's right.
And then you got a new guy to contend with for the most part.
Right. There were a total of 18 pitchers used in last night's game, 9 for each team. And talk about dominance for the American League pitching. They struck out a total of, 16 guys, and 3 of the pitchers for the American League had 3 strikeouts each. They struck out the side in the 1 inning that they pitched, including Chapman, who you just heard in the highlight, striking out the side to get the save. Now, is this because National League hitters, and I got to say, the Chicago Cubs hitters, great hitters in the National League, but they looked overwhelmed by the American League pitching in that particular game. Now, is the American League pitching that much better than the National Leagues?
It's supposed to be, and you got better hitters in the National League.
Yeah.
And, there's some luck involved. It's maybe the closers. I know this. I don't care, to be honest with you. I went to bed before even the end of the game last night. Mm-hmm. It's trying to keep my eyes open, watching the All-Star game. Although I'll tell you this, I liked when they had the conversation, Freddie Freeman and Verlander. If it was a real game like it used to be, when you got home field, they would have never been able to do that, where Freddie Freeman is telling Verlander, what are you throwing to me, and everything else, and then they had Yelich and Bellinger out in the outfield. I thought that was great TV. I really did. I think then they started overdoing that like they do everything else. These producers don't understand. A little bit is better than a whole lot, because by the 7th inning you were getting tired of certain things. And,
right.
and you heard the traditional, this is the truth, and I mean it. If you ask Joe Buck what Clayton Kershaw's lower carriage smelled like, he'd probably tell you a minty evergreen. I don't know. Because, look at this record. But you know what he forgot to say? What's his postseason record? 9-10. He's a regular season hero, Joe. Please get your nose out of his you-know-what and just do the games. It gets so suffering. You know what? They overdo it. And even the voices, didn't you think talking to each other got a little overdone after a while?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
It's a difficult, well, it shouldn't be. I should retract that. It shouldn't be an a difficult game to call for broadcasters. There's so many great stories, and they just didn't have their act together. Just like the players, it didn't seem to have their act together. There were defensive miscues. It just looked like the players weren't totally into it. They had the guys all mic'd up, and it kind of degrades the game a little bit to me. I don't know. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game is certainly not what it once was back in the day when Pete Rose barreled over Bob Fosse, the catcher for the Indians, in that All-Star game.
Fosse, if you would have barreled over Bob Fosse, it might have been at a local nightclub back in the day, to be honest with you. And, but to be honest with you, you're right, Aldo, because Bob Fosse could play. Bob Fosse could take the hit from Pete Rose, believe me. Big Chicago guy, one of our favorites of all time, all that jazz. And, but to be honest with you, the All-Star game, that one there is still the one that's salvageable.
Yeah.
I think they try new things, and I like Fox, but Fox tries to become the star too much instead of doing the actual game.
Good point.
I think people once in a while want it simple.
Yep.
And you know what? There's just too much jumping around, talking. I'm trying to watch the game, and they got one squares with the batter and the other one's with some interviewer,
Yeah, right.
It just gets a little much for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Now, before we get off the topic of the All-Star game, a huge shout out to the guy that you were thrilled when the White Sox brought him into the organization, James McCann, the catcher. He was 1 for 1. He made a tremendous defensive play as well. He really stood out to the national broadcasters, the national fans, and Chicago White Sox fans are really proud of him. For the year, he is hitting .316. He's got 30 RBIs and 9 home runs. He's putting together an excellent baseball season. And to all you guys who play fantasy baseball, I don't play it, but you should check to see if this guy is available for pickup in your fantasy league, because I'm seeing now that on CBS Sports, he's only been picked up in 75% of the league. So the 25% that don't have him on a roster, what's going on there? Pick up James McCann. man. Did you get a chance to see him play before you shut off the
Well,
lights?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you my deal with this whole deal with McCann. I'm the first guy to say, what are they doing? Just signed a guy to a 2-year deal with an option. You got Zach Collins. Don't wait too long. Let the kid know that he's wanted. I was the first one to bring it up. And nobody else is talking about it. Now, I understand they could go arbitration next year with them.
Right.
Okay, so now they got to battle each other. I hope he wins. But fantasy baseball, he doesn't have power numbers. That's the thing. And catchers, for some reason, have to have power numbers, which I think is nuts. Because I remember the Pittsburgh Pirates had a guy named Kendall, who was a real good catcher, skinny guy. Jerry Grody. All the catchers that were successful or won World Series, they weren't all big power hitters.
Right.
And I like his numbers. I like his command. I like him for his defense. I like him for his throwing out stolen bases. So I'm good for him. Giolito did good last night. I was nervous at first. He had trouble finding the plate. And then he did better, which gave me a lot of hope for him because that's a big stage and that can eat somebody up.
Right.
Baez was swinging from his ankles to his head, basically, just ready to swing. So, I mean, it was an entertaining game, and I did like some of the innovations. I just think at some point you take a break and take a breath.
Sounds like a plan to me. All right, let's talk a little bit about the White Sox, specifically the team. I'm interested in your take, and I know we've talked a little bit about it in the past, but things change over the weeks. Jose Abreu is still a hot topic as a potential trade as the trade deadline nears. What are your thoughts on the White Sox? Should they extend his contract now, or should they trade him and then try to re-sign him in the offseason, or should they just let the season play out?
I don't want him to go.
Okay. And he doesn't want to go.
I wanted him to go at the beginning of the year. And then I said to myself, let's take a good look at this guy. He seems to be respected by the other teams, which tells me that they'd love to have him.
Right.
He's done a good job this year. He should be getting as much, if not more, publicity than Anthony Rizzo, because he's better than Anthony. He's as good as Anthony Rizzo, if not better. I think everybody would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw Anthony Rizzo was watching probably from home last night while this kid was playing in the All-Star game.
Exactly.
He's a leader. I think he's a good communicator. I think that you have a contingent of Spanish-speaking players that look up to him.
Yep.
He was one of the first guys on the White Sox, a new generation. So I say, off the top of my head right now, my first reaction, Aldo, is to keep him. What do you think?
I think that the White Sox should extend his contract as soon as possible because it would mean so much to that clubhouse. And here, you got a player here. How many times have you heard a Chicago sports player?
And him and McCann are a good 1-2 punch.
Oh, yes. I mean, McCann is 29 years old. I don't have Abreu's age in front of me, but I think he's about 30.
71, but you know what? He looks young.
Yeah.
Man, the guy came from Cuba. I mean, he might have fought with Castro. I don't know. These guys, I don't know if it's the papaya fruit out there. I don't know if it's the sun. I don't know if it's the pressures of life out there or the water. But these guys look good.
Yeah, I think there was a picture of him at the Bay of Pigs invasion.
He was at the Bay of Pigs blasting Kennedy. And now he's playing first for the White Sox. God bless him.
Yeah. Now, Jose.
So I really like the guy. Look, you cannot, and I said this about McCann last week. God, folks, you go, Mike, how do you put 100% into this show? It's easy because it's fun. I think when you got a guy like McCann last week that I talked about that shows up, and same with Abreu, he shows up to play, he's ready to play, he doesn't get flustered, he's a calming influence. I think he's turned me around, man.
He really has.
He's really turned me around. And I'm just curious. I wonder if Cub fans would rather have him than Rizzo. I'm sure you'll hear the Rizzo stuff because what Cub fans do is they pretend like Rizzo comes home at night to their house and sleeps in the next bedroom. You know what I mean? White Sox fans are more realistic. We understand that if we see them in public, we could say hi to them, and they may not even look at us.
That's right.
We get it. Cub fans think Chris Bryant asked Mommy if there could be some warm milk for later on tonight. Right? They act like they live with them.
There is a different mentality.
Oh, my God, it's crazy. And when Ryan Sandberg was running wild, I mean, people talk about him like, oh, Rhino's going to have a better game tomorrow. He better. It's going to ruin my day. He's not your son. He's not your son. But that's how Cub fans are.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
You know what? Schwarber. How many people like him? I go, look, he's hitting 227. Yeah, but he works so hard. And he's such a nice guy. And, he fixed my plumbing the other night. I mean, really, that's how they sound.
That's so true.
Right?
That is correct. All right, I wanted to add about Abreu that he has been quoted as saying, "I don't want to miss what is coming, and I'm going to be here." I mean, he is saying, "I'm going to be here." He said, "I'm going to sign myself to be here." That's how badly he wants to be a part of what is happening.
That's what Reinsdorf dreams about. Somebody that's going to be an Andre Dawson type blank check, and that's what Abreu's going to be. Yeah. He likes where he's playing. He understands. He came from Cuba. Mm-hmm. He actually understands. I make more money in a year than most people make in their whole lives in any country,
right.
So including America. So he gets it. And like I said about McCann, you can't keep playing musical chairs and getting rid of guys when you're rebuilding.
Exactly.
He's still young enough. He's got good 2, 3, 4 years in him, and so does McCann.
Yep, and Eloy Jimenez has said about Abreu that he's like a father to me, and that means a lot, too. When you've got a young guy whose English is a second language, who's in a new country, and he's trying to fit in and assimilate into U.S. culture, and you've got a guy who speaks the language and is a father-like figure, you don't trade these guys. You keep them around, and that's a pretty good lineup there with those two guys, those two power hitters in your lineup.
I'm very happy with the way they're playing. I know they're frustrating you because, believe me, folks, don't get me started about the Cub Sox series. I got it shoved up. I was bent over a couch, seriously. I mean, I don't complain. Aldo knows this. In the 66 shows that we've done, and all the other platforms, from ESPN 1000 to Vegas Scores and Odds, and by the way, Vegas Scores and Odds, ladies and gentlemen, check it out, 1-800-808-3419. 1-800-808-3419. I'm all-time second with picks. Give them a follow at VSAO. I'll have some picks up. Well, really, I only have a couple picks for today. 3 picks for the show. That's about it.
That's about all the action.
There's not much going on in the world of sports. Believe me, it's dry when you talk about it. But VegasScoresandOdds.com. You know what? Everybody needs a day off or two. I'll be working tonight. We're working right now, and we're getting it done. But let me tell you something, Aldo.
Mm-hmm.
That 6-5 game, if the Cubs miss out in the playoffs by 1 game,
oh my goodness,
the Contreras right field game will forever be etched in everybody's skull as the night Joe Madden lost his collective mind.
Yeah. You're absolutely
right. He put
right.
a catcher who never played the position in right field.
Yep.
And if you notice, folks, and only baseball people notice, that's why I notice, because I know as much about baseball as half the coaches. He took 40 steps to get to the ball. He ran like a little leaguer. It would have taken Hayward 8 strides, and he could have played. And I had the under. It was 6-5. They ended up blowing the whole thing.
Oh gosh!
It was crazy. It was a damaging loss. Then he doesn't play Hayward the next night. I'm going, what are you doing? Baez double clutches. I mean, it was just a bad managed game all the way around by Joe Madden, and it cost me. And it's the third time only in 66 shows I was blank. Still 12 above 500. Got 3 for tonight, but my God, I mean that one. They gave that game away.
Yeah, they sure did. And Madden tries too hard to be the smartest guy in the room. That's his biggest fault, as far as I can see as a fan. He just, and I'm all for innovation, but sometimes you just can't do things like that.
How do you explain Schwarber still leading off? It hasn't worked.
Yeah.
And every time they struggle, he's leading off.
Yeah. How about that? That is so true. Steven Zimmerman.
I mean, Bryant is playing good ball. Look, put Almora out there at the leadoff position. Drop Schwarber to 6. Play the same lineup every day. If you have to put Schwarber in left, Almora in center, Hayward in right.
Yeah.
Bryant.
I like it.
Move Russell to short like they had him in 2016. Put Baez back at second. I think Joe would prefer it that way, but it's gotten too far because he's on pace to make 20 errors at shortstop.
Yes. A lot of people don't talk about that.
And Rizzo at first, Contreras catching. Do that for 20 games. Please, dear Lord, on high, please have the same lineup for 20 games. I promise you'll be in first place by more than 2 or 3 games if you do it that way. But ball players, they're creatures of habit. And Bryant was in right field the other night. And by the way, Carmen DeFalco did a good job. I asked him to check. Molina's never played right field. So why does Contreras play right? You got an all-star catcher, and you treating him like a dog and putting him in right field like a goof, embarrassing the whole damn franchise. It was pitiful.
I got to tell you that Steven Zimmerman in the chat room is on fire with lots of good points, and I'll pick one of them here. He says that regarding Schwarber, he says that Eloy Jimenez is 10 times the player of Schwarber and only gets half the praise because of the difference in fan bases. And I think that's a great point by Zimmerman.
Agreed.
Yep.
It's the way it is. Schwarber has been given a ton of opportunity, and I like the kid. I do. But I don't like him enough where I lead him off where he gets more at-bats than anybody on the team. Think who's on this team. Baez, Bryant, Hayward, Rizzo. You know who gets the most at-bats when he on the team? The leadoff man.
Yep.
Schwarber gets more at-bats than perennial all-stars with Joe Madden.
That's unbelievable.
It's unreal.
Yep. Do you think a different manager could take the Zimmerman says that you managing the Cubs would take the Cubs further than Joe Madden.
Let me tell you something. If I took over this team after All-Star break, I'd tell them all, we'd have one meeting. You're going to hustle. No more lollygagging to second base. I like what you did before the All-Star break where you actually ran hard, number one. Number two, I'd say, this is going to be my lineup for 20 games. If one of you or even more of you look like you're not getting the job done, after 20 games, you'll be told. But this is the lineup I want. And this is the way it's going to be. And we're not going to have Bryant and right, Schwarber and Bryant and right. I'm moving Russell back to short because he's a better shortstop than second baseman, and Baez is a great second baseman. I know he likes short, but you know what? I'd move him back because he was great at second, and we won the World Series with that lineup.
Yeah.
Why would you move it?
I agree. It
Why?
makes total sense to me. Now there is
So that's what I would do. Set lineup 20 games. Russell's at short. Baez is at second. Contreras is catching. Bryant at third. Rizzo at first. Schwarber, if we got to play him, I would have kept Ian Happ. I don't even know where he's at. or somebody else. John Jay, anybody. But Schwarber just is should not be batting first. He'd be moved to sixth if I was the manager.
Yeah, and there is a rumor that the Cubs are interested in left-handed batter David Peralta from the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's a 6'1", 210-pounder who a year ago hit over, I think it was 30 home runs. Let me look it up real quickly. It was indeed.
I like him.
30 home runs.
I like him. Look, Zobrist screwed this whole thing up.
Yeah, you said that before, and it bears repeating.
And nobody will talk about it. The divorce thing has killed this team. Him leaving baseball has given, that's a damaging blow that nobody talks about. Oh, let's just move on. No, you can't. You were counting on him.
Right.
That's been a damaging blow to this team for the most part because he was your right fielder. He was your utility second baseman.
Right.
He was the guy, and nobody talks about it. And here's another thing. They're the dumbest base running team I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, my gosh.
They've been caught 39 times already. That's inexcusable, and that's on the manager and the coaches also.
Yep. Well, and that, I guess...
Well, I'll tell you what. It's like, you know what? It's like I got it all. I mean, right up here in this little peanut of a nugget. I can't believe it. I'm making sense over here.
You are.
It's sort of scary.
And when you look at this team on paper, the Chicago Cubs, I mean, it's an extraordinary assemblage of talent that Theo Epstein has got together. Now, you can certainly blame him for some of the moves, the Brandon Morrow move and on, the overpaying Yu Darvish and stuff. But nonetheless, you've got so much talent here, so you've got to wonder. You just have to wonder, is Madden destroying this team?
If they don't win it, he's gone.
I know it's got to happen. I hate to say it.
I mean, you know what? I think his stock is actually, look, I think they stopped listening to him in Tampa Bay after a while. I think he's got a shelf life of where he's at. If they get in the wild card and lose, okay?
Yeah.
Or if they get into playoffs and lose the first round, I think now he might be gone. And I don't know if the White Sox would go after him. I think the stock has gone down a little over the past 2 weeks. I think that game was a bad game for him.
I agree.
Because it shows even from the year that they won it all. We all know, as Chicago Cub fans know, or Chicago baseball fans know, he's not a good in-game manager.
He is not. And I have to tell you, the manager on the south side of Chicago has outmanaged Joe Madden this season, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. And I can be talked out of that because there's a lot better baseball minds out there than mine. In fact, you're a genius and I'm a dunderhead when it comes to baseball. But from what I've seen, and I've seen a lot of games this season, Rick Renteria, manager of the Chicago White Sox, has just done a better job of managing this young talent than Madden has of managing this veteran talent, talent that should have a much better record than they are right now. Right now in the loss column, one game separates the Chicago White Sox and the Chicago Cubs, and based on the rosters, that should not be the case. It should not be the case.
And the whole deal with Addison Russell playing back, I mean, he was supposed to go to first base, but was that communicated to him? Because he figured, I got a shot. And then he doesn't fess up to it.
Right.
And say that he made a mistake. He said he'd do the same thing again. He's such a moron for saying that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just shows you that, baseball's a mental game, too. That night they played, look, their first innings have been horrible. They've been slow getting out of the gate. And yet they're still, like they're right sniffing at first place.
Right.
So, you know what? I said they were going to put it together in the second round. Maybe they come back with purpose. But, man, I mean, they were being booed by the Cleveland fans like they were the New York Yankees. And I understand that Cleveland's bad because they lost to the Cubs. Maybe they watch the Cubs now and they can't believe they lost to them. But I'll tell you this. They were booed the other night like they're like 3-4-time champions. They've only won once, folks.
Yeah, that's right. Joy Two Scoops in the chat room says that he would prefer Renteria managing the White Sox over Madden. No thanks. If Madden becomes a free agent, he'll stay where he is. He thinks
that's what I told you. Stock is starting. Now, I'd say a month ago that might have been maybe Scoops goes, I like the way Madden's managing. But you know what? There's been too many bad streaks.
Yeah.
Too much sloppiness on the base pass, in the field. Not enough attention to detail. Not knowing what bases to go to. Look, I'd like to interview for the managing job because I don't know what these guys say. I love Madden. I think he's been great for the Cubs. I mean, to get Tampa Bay to the World Series was unbelievable.
Absolutely.
So he's got resume, but I think at a certain point, his cool cat type of demeanor starts to get old.
Yep. And lots of chatter in the chat room about how Madden mismanages the bullpen, and that they barely won that World Series because Madden almost blew it with some of the bullpen decisions that he made.
Oh, yeah.
So
that was bad for his image.
Yep.
And now when you see a game like he did the other night, the same thing, it just harkens back memories for me. I mean, I was saying, what are you doing?
Yes.
What do you got? Contreras, right? And you got Schwarber in left. If there was, I mean, my God, if Curly Howard walked in the door, they would have put him in center. I mean, I don't know what to do. If they had one more, I'm surprised they didn't put Caratini in center. At the three catcher outfield. My God. Unbelievable, man.
That would have been something. All right, everybody loves the baseball talk, but they love even more what you've got up your sleeve regarding the 3 free picks, which is why I'm going to roll the music.
Yeah! Hocus pocus, dominocus, ladies and gentlemen. 12 games over 500, but yeah, we were 15 over. So we suffered an 0-3 night. Mike likes to brag when he's 3-0. Mike only brings up 0-3 very shortly and so often. Doesn't talk much about it. But I put it out on Twitter, and it hurts. It hurts to lose.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lose tonight because we got. And Aldo's excited. He told me about this. He goes, you know what? I know that, Vegas scores and odds, and God bless Vegas scores and odds. Punch the number into your phone right now if you're driving. Pull over 1-800-808-3419 for a free pick. And then for the premier handicapping site in the country, Vegas scores and odds. It's the only site you'll ever need. With cappers like Johnny Anthony, Dennis Macklin, Tony Sacco, Ray Monty, and yours truly and many more. Check out the homepage at VegasScoresAndOdds.com for a tote board with me, Mike North, placing second all time with my picks. Follow Vegas Scores and Odds on Twitter at VSAO. Pick packages ranging from daily to weekly to monthly, or how about for the whole year? Dial up 1-800-808-3419. Plus, it's on top of my profile at North to North. Just hit it, and you can hit Bears Barroom up there. And ESPN 1000 also. 1-800-808-3419. Write down with me at VegasScoresAndOdds.com. And by the way, we will have this podcast up about 4:30. I think it's about a half an hour afterwards, right, Aldo?
You got that
We get
right.
off the air. So because you know what? You don't want to miss hot WNBA action, folks. And I got a big pick for tonight. The WNBA, I'm not saying that they're in trouble as a team, as a league. And thank God for the NBA that funnels the money to them, right, Aldo?
Yes.
Because they played a game this morning at 10 o'clock. Okay?
Uh-huh.
They played UConn versus Atlanta at 10 o'clock this morning. Imagine that? Hey,
Wow.
kids, let's go. Let's watch basketball at 10 o'clock.
No. Thank you.
I don't think so. But here's what we got for tonight. Local team, Minnesota at 8-6. The Lynx versus the Chicago Sky at 7-7. Minnesota's been a great team. I really like them. They've won for me already. But I'm going to take the Chicago Sky -1 and try to break this 3-game losing streak. Don't think I'm not nervous, folks. Don't think I'm not scared, okay? The once cocky king of all is now groveling, trying to get a win. That's how it is. But you know what? I like where I'm sitting. That's why you build a base. You can't have a building. You can't have an 8th floor until you have 7 floors. And we've done plenty of building at Vegas Scores and Odds and Bears Barroom Network. So take the Sky -1 and take the over in the Sky game at 158. And then tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, the Houston Astros -124 playing at Texas. Get off to a start. It's the only game of the night in Major League Baseball. So we got the over Minnesota. We got the Sky in that same game, -1. And we got Houston -124. Aldo, back to you.
I love that pick of the Sky. That is fabulous.
Sky, baby.
Yes.
Ellie Delta, where are you?
Now, I have gone out there and seen those young ladies play, and it is a ton of fun. And I got to tell you, one of the
How did they lose that woman? She wanted to leave. Another catastrophe.
Yeah, what was-
Chicago Sky, Ellie Del Dome, right?
Ella Della Don.
Is that her name or whatever the hell it is?
Yes, you were close.
I never took time to really learn the pronunciation, but she was beautiful.
She was
very
beautiful.
nice looking lady, good basketball player.
Indeed, yes.
Brought a lot of put fannies in the seat, and we lose her.
Right, unbelievable. And while the Sky, like you said, they're 7-7 and have lost 3 in a row, they are a very good shooting team, as are the Lynx. So I love the over on that one, Mike. I think that's
all right.
a
I'm
great
taking the
bet.
under, please. Give me the under. I didn't need that.
Kiss of
Please,
death.
somebody, hand me that cyanide. Put it in my glass, will you? Aldo likes the over. No, we'll stay with it. We'll stay with it.
Okay. All right. I want to talk a little bit about NBA before we finish off talking about the NFL and in
Sure.
particular the Chicago Bears. There's people in the chat room saying, hey, 17 days left to cap. I want to hear about some of the Bears.
You know, tell them to hold on, okay?
Hold
we'll
on,
get
okay?
to the footballs. Jeez, enough. I mean, they act like they're morphine addicts in a gangway. Where's my junk? My God, take it easy, everybody. Russ Baxter, Cole, all these guys.
Yes.
Only 17 days, like Christmas is coming. Believe
It
me,
is for
folks.
some of us.
Enough.
That is great. Okay, so the NBA is done really a great job of during these dog days of summers of stealing headlines from Major League Baseball and all the other sports that are just kind of relaxing now before they get into heavy duty. But the Summer League is getting some attraction, but also NBA free
I've
agency.
been betting it.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, the NBA, kudos to them. They're just doing a fabulous job. But one thing is worrying Adam Silver, and that is these trade demands being made by players. This is what he said at his press conference a couple of days ago.
You have a contract, and it needs to be meaningful on both sides. On one hand, there's an expectation if you have a contract and it's guaranteed that team is going to meet the terms of the contract, and the expectation on the other side is the player is going to meet the terms of the contract. So I will say, without getting into any specific circumstances, trade demands are disheartening. They're disheartening to the team, they're disheartening to the community, and don't serve the player well. The players care about their reputations just as much. And so that's an issue that needs to be addressed.
Mike, very, very complicated issue. But I want to get your gut feel on this whole situation about players demanding trades. And basically, we're in a situation now where in the NBA, the players are running the league. They've superseded general managers, at least the top players in the league. Your thoughts, please.
Well, LeBron James has done it. I mean, LeBron James has, walked off the Cleveland Cavaliers court, taken his jersey off. That started with the whole conversation.
Indeed.
That he started it. Jimmy Butler, that's who he was talking about now.
Yeah.
You give a guy that kind of money, whether you're Minnesota before that, the Bulls, I mean, he's a cancer. I don't care. If he goes to the Heat with Russell Westbrook, I think that they have a strong enough guy in Pat Riley that he's going to go, listen, guys, this is your deal. Work it out. He's the kind of guy that's got enough cachet where he can go, Russell, don't hog the ball, pass the ball to Jimmy in the fourth quarter. So, but Jimmy Butler, you can't depend on him. I wouldn't want to be in a foxhole with him. And then when he's there at Minnesota, he's starting trouble with the players. So, I don't blame Adam Silver. Chris Paul's another guy. They talked their way off. Chris Paul was supposed to be a lifetime Clipper, remember?
Right.
I mean, you got a contract. I agree with him. I can't believe he grew some spine. I can't, because he's let him get away with murder. And now he's seeing that owners are complaining and getting in his ear going, what the hell are you doing? I mean, some of these trades are ridiculous, too.
Yeah.
I mean, other commissioners wouldn't have even allowed some of these trades.
Right.
Stern wouldn't have. So I just think that, it's good that came out, and contracts are a two-way thing.
It is. There's a lot of issues. Are you there, Mike? I heard a click. Yeah, I think I lost
Hello?
Mike. Mike, are you there?
I lost you for a minute.
Okay, absolutely there. All right, excellent.
I panicked. I go, holy Christ, no! And then I got it.
Here's the issue. Players are susceptible to being traded, so why shouldn't they allow themselves to ask for trades and in some cases demand trades. Shouldn't it be a 50-50 deal?
Well, that's what he just said. It should be both ways.
Mm-hmm.
He said, look, and for the most part, if you're a high-priced player and you get a lot of money, a max contract, and you say, yeah, I want it, like Jimmy Butler did,
mm-hmm.
and then you cry your way off the team, that's bad.
Right.
They want to cause workplace issues so the management will get rid of him.
Right.
But he's right. It doesn't serve them well. It makes them look bad. I think Jimmy Butler's got a bad reputation as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
He's playing on his fourth team
Yeah.
already. Come on.
It's a little hard to take Jimmy Butler serious nowadays.
It is.
He's become the butt of some jokes. He says he wants to play for a winner, and then he signs with the Miami Heat.
Right. And he doesn't put pay. Look, how many people you've ever heard going, Dad, Jimmy Butler's coming to town. Let's go to the basketball game. He's not a superstar.
Right.
He's not. Hey, Dad, LeBron's coming. Dad, MJ's coming.
Right.
Dad, Kareem's coming. Dad, Jimmy Butler's coming? Don't you like the way I just paint the picture? Dad,
Da
Larry
Vinci.
Bird's coming. Dad, Magic Johnson's coming. Dad, John Havlicek's coming. Dad, Jimmy Butler's coming?
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
It's so
My
true.
God.
So true. So,
I mean, seriously. I mean, if you really want to go there, all these guys that think they're hot stuff because they make a lot of money.
yeah.
Dad, Bill Russell's coming to town. Dad, Will Chamberlain's coming to town. Dad, Shaq's coming to town. Dad, Theo Rattler's coming to town.
Well, and there is one simple solution to this, which is the owners, they could say no. You want to trade? Sorry, buddy. You signed this contract. You're going to finish out
But then they cause problems. They
Yeah.
don't show up to work.
Yeah.
They come in late. I mean, some people don't want to put up with these guys. Look what happened to Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
He's done.
Right.
Did anybody ever dwindle more talent away than that guy?
Oh, my gosh.
I mean,
Unbelievable.
he's been on a different team. He's been on 8, 9 teams. He was supposed to, for a while, he was the MVP. Wasn't he MVP one year?
Yes, he was.
Defensive Player of the Year?
Yes, he was.
Boy, did he go south.
Yeah.
He don't care.
Yep.
Yet he kept going to different places saying he was going to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't.
Yeah, a great waste of talent. So let's talk about Russell Westbrook. A lot of people say
I'll tell you
he's
this, how many owners break contracts with players, though? You don't see that in the NBA.
Yeah, you really don't. I mean,
It's the other way around. That's what Silver was pissed about, and I'm glad.
Contracts are guaranteed in the NBA, unlike most deals in the NFL. So it is more.
I mean,
difficult.
are we still playing? I mean, seriously, are we paying Heinrich still? I have no idea.
I don't know.
I mean, seriously, and the Bulls. I watched their little foray into the world of the Las Vegas basketball.
Yeah.
If they have to shoot from 10 feet or further, we're screwed.
Yes, exactly.
We are screwed. But if we can get to the rim, which doesn't happen in the real world, called not the Summer League, it's called January in Chicago, and it's 0 out, you're not getting to the rim.
That's a good point. Well, you know,
I mean, I'm
these
just
guys
being honest. I'm trying to say what I think,
These
but I
guys
can't
are-
help it. I mean, that's just the way it looks. They don't play. By the way, I had Croatia plus 14 yesterday. Rule number 1 for all you gamblers out there: Oklahoma City did not. They had their rookies. They known each other 10 minutes. They played a national team, and I got 14. Now, Oklahoma City's rookies beat them by 8, but they've known each other 10 minutes. The national team probably grew up together since they were 10. You know what I mean?
I agree. I totally.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't believe they were getting 14.
yeah, that is a lot of points.
Yep. Yeah, well, I guess they don't have Tony Kukoc.
Man, Tony Kukoc, I haven't heard that name in a while.
The Croatian sensation,
Yeah.
the Pink Panther, the governor of Highland Park, and the Bulls ambassador.
Indeed. What a great passer Tony Kukoc was, which is something.
Oh, the waiter.
The waiter. That's what he was called. What a memory you got.
He's got all these nicknames. He had more nicknames than anybody.
He did. In fact, a couple of them we can't say on this broadcast because Michael Jordan tended to call him by some other names that weren't complimentary.
You know what? They don't win without him.
I agree. I mean, he was an important player off the bench.
And Jordan will tell you that, and so will Pippen now.
He will now, absolutely.
As they look back, and Pippen would be out of basketball because Kukoc saved them in the 1.8 game.
All right, let's get into some talk about Russell Westbrook because his contract, he signed an extension that's worth $205 million. This was a year ago, so it's a 5-year deal. He's got 4 years left. There's lots of talk on social media whether the Chicago Bulls should trade some of their young talent for Russell Westbrook. The positives are that Russell Westbrook can drive and pitch out for the Bulls. A better than average outside shooters, and the negatives, of course, are the contract, the fact that he's never won before, the fact that he's going to be 31 years old. What are your thoughts about Russell Westbrook potentially coming to the Chicago Bulls?
First of all, when did 31 years old become old? Has anybody watched him? Nobody plays harder.
Yeah.
I bet these games, folks. There's nobody in the league that plays harder
Very true.
than Russell Westbrook from beginning to end every night. And anybody that thinks they got somebody else that plays harder than him, I want to meet him, number one. Number two, I heard grown adults say that they wouldn't want him on the Bulls, that they like what they have now. This is like brainwashing 101 from the media and everybody else. As everybody else Bulls fans have gotten dumber and have accepted mediocrity. You have a chance. Do you know the buzz that would be going on if Russell Westbrook became a Bull, let's say Friday? You know how many tickets would be sold? You know how many people would be jacked? You know how much the players would be better that play with him? Look, they won 50-some games. Who's on his team? Name me him. He had Paul George. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's fine, but they didn't have anybody else. Adams at center.
Yeah.
They won 55 games. They'd get to the playoffs. How good's the East?
The East.
You know what I said? Even Dave Kerner, who I love and respect.
Yes.
On Twitter. I go, Dave, and Jordan Cornette too. Good guy.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't want him, so to speak. But I know they'd be happy if we did get him. That being said, Dave said to me, well, where would we go from the playoffs? I go, wait, we're not even in the playoffs. You can't go anywhere unless you get there. And Russell Westbrook gets us in the playoffs. And anybody that doesn't think so is not watching. And to say he's old at 31, maybe I'm wrong. When I was 31, I could play poker for 3 nights without rest and days. What? 31. I could drink every night and go to work at 6 in the morning on 4 hours sleep. 31.
That's documented.
My God, is 31. He's still young. He's a hell of a player, man. Don't you think? Now, he does hog the ball, but why?
Yeah, he's a stat
because
hog.
sometimes he's got to.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Where's Durant? Where's Harden? It's not his fault they didn't win it. Because if they had Durant and Harden still with him, I still say they win it. It would have, but they're the ones that left.
But what about these guys, and why do they leave Russell Westbrook and Kevin, a associate of Kevin Durant?
They didn't leave Russell Westbrook. They left Oklahoma City.
Yeah, but they left their teammate Westbrook behind. They didn't say, "Hey, Russell, let's back up."
Look at Durant now. He left them. Now he left Golden State.
Yep.
I thought he'd stay.
I thought so too.
Look, the guy that's still there is Westbrook. If you want to talk about who's the vagabond, and look it up in the dictionary, it's Durant.
It's true.
He's a vagabond.
He is.
He's a carpetbagger. Comes in, squawks it up when they got it done, and then leaves.
All right.
I think I'm a little hostile.
No, not a little.
Okay. I'm just saying, I can't believe it. Russell Westbrook's a great player. If he became a Bull tomorrow, I'd be jacked. Wouldn't you?
I would be jacked, but I have to tell you the truth. I want the Chicago Bulls to stick to a plan. If they're going to rebuild, then rebuild with young talent.
But they don't have any young talent.
Well, I beg to differ. I think some of they've got a lot of 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old guys.
So does every other team.
Well, I mean, the Bulls really, I haven't checked this, but I bet the Bulls are probably one of the top 3 youngest teams in the NBA. And so
what does that get you? That gets you the Atlanta Hawks.
Well, you're absolutely right. If none of this talent pans out, then yeah, they're going to continue to draft really high.
How many years are we on?
Oh my gosh! As you have called it, this is rebuild number 7. So
I mean, my God, Aldo, you sound worse than the media. What happened to you over the weekend? Did you get the bill for the? What's going on?
I'm playing devil's advocate.
Construction? What happened? You've lost your mind.
Oh, the construction is done.
I feel like I'm talking to Sam Smith. With his face painted red and black. My God.
Okay.
You are a Bulls fan, and I respect you. But really, did you see the movie Lost in America?
Yes, I did.
You're Albert Brooks trying to get the money back, okay? Look, you're a nice guy. I really like you, and you got some great ideas. But you know what? Las Vegas gambling. Chicago Bulls losing. That's what it is.
I hear you. I'm not going to put any money on the Bulls next season.
Why don't you say they're going to be 500? You might hang yourself in your garage. Don't do that. I was just kidding. But, seriously, the White Sox have driven you to the point of no return.
All right, it's the Bears that are driving me to the point of no return.
There we go.
I am really psyched about the upcoming season, and so I went over to one of the websites of one of the sports books, and they have a prop bet here. The team to finish the season with the best regular season record. The Patriots, they've got as the best at plus 650. So you bet $100, you win $650. And then it's the Rams at plus 700, the Chiefs at plus 800, along with the Saints and Colts. And then the Chargers at plus 900, the Eagles at plus 1,000. And then we finally come to the Chicago Bears at plus 1,400. I got to believe that is a good bet. Take $100 out and with a chance to win $1,400. Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And then you say to yourself, is Vegas stupid? Until you say to yourself, wait a minute, Vegas isn't stupid. Why would they make this deal so high? But you know what? They make mistakes like everybody else. I'm taking it like you. Yeah, I believe in the Bears. A lot of people, you know what? All of a sudden, for some reason, it seems like they showed us, but like I said about Giolito, can he do it next year? They showed us, and I think there's people that are trying to permeate either Vegas, some handicappers, some experts that don't think they're going to do it again. Don't you?
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think this is going to be, if they're 3-3 after 6 games, we're going to start being concerned a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot will depend on the individual performance of Mitchell Trubisky, the quarterback, because we know they're going to have a good defense. They may not be as good as the defense last year with all the turnovers that they created and so forth, and so there'll be more of a reliance on the offense to score points, and so and that obviously lies on the hands of Mitch Trubisky. But I gotta believe that he's going to be a better quarterback in 2019 than he was in 2018. They should score more points.
Yeah, I got to ask you, who's the NFL show in the morning on NFL Network with the young lady?
Yeah,
and
Good Morning Football. Yeah.
Good Morning NFL. Nate Burleson.
Yes.
Is he the guy?
Yes.
Good guy?
Yes, good guy, yes.
And their panel was talking. I was just switching over the other day, and I saw them.
Uh-huh.
And I think the Bears are stuck in limbo. You know what I mean?
No, what do you mean?
I think when I say stuck in limbo, there's people out there that, like with New England, everybody believes in New England. With the Bears, I think half the NFL is sort of like suspicious. And then I heard,
Gotcha.
I think it was Nate Burleson, or it may have been the other guy. It was Nate Burleson. They were rating who has the best quarterbacks in football, which division. And he did say the NFC. And he gave props to Stafford. He gave props to even Cousins as far as who has the strongest group. And to Mitchell. gave him props, but also had some negatives. He picked Rodgers as the best in the game. And he's got that smile. And you know what? I don't believe it. I don't believe there's enough at Green Bay. That's why I still believe in the Bears. I think as much as people doubt the Bears, people are giving Green Bay too much credit.
Right. I agree with that.
I do.
I agree.
I mean, it's like they're always the family favorite. Remember the uncle that came over? You hated the other three uncles you had and your aunts? They were the mean aunt, the aunt that never gave you any money, and then the one uncle that came over. That's who Aaron Rodgers is. He's the favorite uncle.
That's so true.
The guy that came over and put you on his lap, here's $10, put it in your pocket, don't tell your mom. You know.
Yes.
That's who Aaron Rodgers is.
Yeah.
And Matthew Stafford, he can still pass the football, but really, he's... And Burleson came up with this. He's Carmelo Anthony.
Oh,
One
interesting.
of those guys. What the hell was that?
My stomach.
Let me belch?
I'm hungry.
I thought we were going to run out of time, but
You got me.
I love it. No, but seriously, if the Bears, if they're giving outlandish odds out, put a little on them. Who cares, right?
Yeah, I agree. I
And
definitely.
it helps you root for the team harder. And it would help some teams. Here's what I would tell everybody that believes in the Bulls. Okay, I want your names and addresses, and then I want your betting receipts. Because I want you to bet the Bulls all year. And then when you come see me for a loan, seriously, because that's how you separate the men from the boys.
Yeah.
Look at Milwaukee. I mean, Milwaukee, they got a superstar. If you don't have a superstar, you're not winning this league. If you don't have two superstars, you're not going deep into the playoffs. And really, if you don't have three, and Kawhi Leonard was one of those freaks of nature, but even there was an article that suggests they know they got lucky with that shot, or it would have been all over. That's why he left. Because does Kawhi Leonard really think that Toronto was going to win it again next year? And I think no. And that's why they put this deal together.
Interesting stuff. Mike,
Yes, sir.
one last question regarding prop bets. The sites ask any team going to go 19-0 and win the Super Bowl. So all the regular season games to 3 playoff games, the yes is a plus 5,000. Put $100 down.
Oh, my God. No, don't waste your money.
Don't waste the money, right?
19-0 ain't going to happen,
Ain't
man.
gonna well,
And you know why? Because
Why?
of replay.
Oh, why is that? Tell me more.
Well, here, if there had been replay, for instance, if there had been replay in the Immaculate Reception game, and there would have been more cameras,
Right.
we know what happens then. We know if the ball hit the ground. I think there's been teams. How many breaks did the Miami Dolphins, the 72 Dolphins, get in games?
Huge.
With bad officiating, and maybe things turned a certain way for them that went their direction, that if there was replay would have gone the other way. So I think it's going to be tough. And with the new pass interference rules, where you just throw the ball up now, the games are going to be stopped, and it's going to drive everybody nuts. I'm predicting this, just like when they were calling roughing the passer because you throw a guy down and he went down too hard. This is going to be a disaster. I'm telling everybody now.
Mike, what about the 2007 New England Patriots, who were one goofy play away from having that 19-0 magical season? It was the David Tyree pass from Phil Simms that ruined that miracle. So it has come close within, 12 years. You don't think it could happen again?
I thought you asked about 19-0. I didn't hear anything about 18-1. Just saying. You know, I'm just trying to be honest here. I understand. Is it possible? Hell yeah. Who do you see doing that?
No. Well, I do think.
Give me a team that you see going 19-0 this year.
I don't see.
Because I don't see one.
I don't see any team, but if I were to bet on a team to do it, it would be the Patriots, because at least right now their schedule is, according to the NFL.com, the easiest schedule in the NFL. So they've got a good team. Of course, the loss of Rob Gronkowski is really going to hurt that team.
Don't even go there. If you're telling me they're going to go undefeated without Rob Gronkowski, I'm saying it's not going to happen.
You're saying I'm nuts.
They're going to miss him. They are going to miss him so bad. So bad. Aaron Hernandez would have just held off.
Oh, my God.
Maybe now you know what I'm saying? Come on. They had two great tight ends, and it's over.
Oh, my
One
goodness.
killed himself, and the other guy left, and I guess he's lost weight and everything, so he's not coming back.
Oh, my gosh. I saw a photograph of Rob Gronkowski. I was like, this is half the man that I used to know. He's lost.
It's over.
Yeah,
he did good. He did good. So New England, they're going to have adjustments to make, man. You can only go to the trough you can only lose so many guys. I think this year it's going to be I love Tom Brady, though. If anybody could do it, it's him.
Tom Brady running a 40-yard dash in order to stay in shape. He's proving that this guy's superhuman. I mean, what a great competitor. He's got that Michael Jordan instinct for competition, which you have to respect whether you like the guy or not.
I love him, man. Tom Brady's been everything to that organization. And you know what? He's the guy that comes up. Bill Belichick never played one down. So, they can say what they want about Belichick. I saw him coach before the Patriots. Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe goes down. They play Brady. Brady steps up and gets it done. So, you know what? They didn't even see this coming, but Brady did.
Mike, we could talk for
God, am I good today?
We could talk for another hour and 8 minutes, which is what we've done so far. Actually, it's more, an hour and 10 minutes, but we've got work to do. You and I are going to work on the autobiography after this, and I got to post the show.
Today's letter R. We're doing an autobiography by letters.
That's right.
So today's letter R. I got a few hours there. Believe me, should be interesting.
All right.
So the podcast should be up about 4:30, 4:35, folks.
That's right.
And then me and Aldo got some work to do.
That's right. I want to remind everybody that tonight on Mixler.com, our live channel for Bears Barroom Radio, it's going to be the Box Office Barflies. They're going to review a movie, and I'm forgetting which movie it was. Joe, I know you're in the chat room. Quickly tell me what the movie is. And you can also check out their I Have a Stream podcast. That is
I Have a Stream.
Yes. They talked about Euphoria, the very controversial HBO show. They talked about a number of other shows.
Euphoria? That's what I felt when I got out of seventh grade the second year.
There you go, but this is not that story. Joe just typed up that they're reviewing Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie, Far From Home it's called, and so they'll be talking about that tonight live here on Mixler.com. And as Mike said, this podcast will be out momentarily. Please share it with all your friends. It's one of those shows that just has a long, long shelf life. Mike, say goodbye to your friends.
Follow us at Vegas Scores and Odds, at VSAO, and at Bears Barroom. So long, everybody.
That was fun.
All right, buddy. So then